Aryna Sabalenka reassumed her throne as the queen of the Caja Magica with her 6-3-7-6 finals win over Coco Gauff at the Madrid Open. I'll break down how that match went down and also discuss another title winner from this weekend, Miss Naomi Osaka, who lifted her first winner's trophy in over 4 years. And the draw dropped for the second WTA Clay 1000 of the season in Rome. I'll briefly give my picks and who I think will go deep at the Foro Italico. Hey, I'm Christian Bass Knight and welcome to Christian's Court, where I cover tennis from all angles. If you have not yet already, make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post Rome content throughout the next 2 weeks. So yes, Aryna Sabalenka won her third Madrid Open title on Saturday, and not only is it her 20th title overall, it's her third of the season, which is the most titles won by any woman this year in 2025. And she also ties Petra Kvitova with the most Madrid women's singles titles won with 3 as well. Now, some of y'all might know I did have Coco winning this final, although I did have Aryna winning the title before the tournament started, so I am right halfway. But anyways, I picked Gauff to win this match because for one, she had the slight head-to-head edge 5-4, and I really just felt that Coco enjoyed the matchup more compared to Aryna. Also, Gauff had a great finals record. I believe she was 9-1 in finals, and I think she won like 8 or 7 straight finals. And also, I just felt that Coco was in better form overall, especially the last few matches compared to Aryna. Now, I'm just going to go over the biggest factors of why I felt that Gauff wasn't as successful, and of course, why Sabalenka won the match. First of all, I think perhaps the biggest is Coco. She did not serve as well as she did in her last few matches. That 1-all game in the first set where Gauff got broken for the first time was very, very telling, as she missed all of her first serves, and Sabalenka, she had 2 return winners in this game, and Coco hit a double fault. Gauff averaged 53% of first serves in for the match compared to Sabalenka's 69%, which obviously does not bode well for the American. But the bigger issue, I feel, is Gauff's 57% of first serve points won. Coco only hit 52% of her first serves in her quarterfinal match against Mira Andreeva, but she won 85% of points whenever she landed that first serve, so she was fine overall. Gauff also won 90% of her first serve points in her 1-1 beatdown over Iga Swiatek in the semifinals. But Aryna was a stronger returner by far compared to Iga and Mira in this final, and she did a much better job of attacking Gauff's second serves and weaker first serves too, which really had a domino effect. Gauff felt like she had to go for more on her second serve to prevent Aryna from attacking and hitting winners off of it. And this did pay off in a sense, considering how Gauff won 31% more second serve points in the second set compared to the opener. But with reward comes risk, and Gauff threw in 8 double faults, the last of which came on championship point. Coco said after the match in her press conference that she felt that she had to go for more on her second serve, and she acknowledged that her first serve, which had been a weapon for her for much of this tournament, kind of let her down in this final. Gauff did improve her first serve won percentage by about 10 percentage points in the second set, as she started to find her rhythm on it towards the end of the opening set and for much of the second set, thanks to her just dialing it back a little bit and using more kick serves as the first serves at some point. But at other points, she was really hitting her spots well for the early part of the second set, I'd say, and that helped her maintain her early break advantage. I mentioned in my finals preview how I felt that kind of the more nighttime conditions would favor Sabalenka more than Gauff because first of all, she was more used to them as Aryna's last few 3 or 4 matches have been played during the night. Plus, Gauff's forehand wouldn't bounce as high and out of Sabalenka's strike zone. Gauff really had to work harder to break down Sabalenka with spin and heaviness of shot on the forehand. And in the second set, she did make a strong effort, Coco did, of hitting her forehand with better height and depth, which helped her win more baseline rallies. Gauff had a solid opportunity to send this match into a decider as she led Sabalenka 5-3 in the second set, and she served for the set at 5-4. Now that 5-4 game was really crazy because it saw Gauff double fault twice to go down love 40, and then Sabalenka just had a mental brain freeze and dropped her racket trying to run for a ball. I thought that could be the big shift and turning point that could cause Sabalenka to really go off the rails because Gauff eventually held a set point. However, she barely netted a backhand on that set point, and she played a pretty poor string of points thereafter to concede the break. Really, that was just all nerves from Gauff, as she struggled to really land her first serve, and she kept pulling up, especially on that forehand. And Gauff showed that she still is not the strongest closer. Still, Coco had a chance to break right back the following game at 5 all, as she let Sabalenka love 30 while Aryna was serving. However, she missed 3 forehand second serve returns to let Biklenka right off the hook. This was probably the most disappointing game for Gauff this entire match, as I feel like if she had possibly broken, maybe she could have served out the set. Now, I gotta give Coco a little bit of credit because she was able to save a match point in that 6-5 game when she tried to serve to stay in the match, but in the tiebreaker, Sabalenka was simply the better player. On first watch, I just thought the finals was a mess to me, and I was a little bit more critical of Gauff's game, but I rewatched the finals again today, actually, and I felt that the match was better quality overall than what I initially thought. Now, it was definitely no 2023 or 2024 final between, Aryna and Iga. Those finals were like top tier. And I really do think it could have been more of a spectacle for sure if Gauff managed to close out that second set. And I do think it was definitely anticlimactic because from 5-4 on, the tennis was not all that great in terms of the quality, particularly from Gauff, but also Sabalenka at times wasn't the best, but she again deserves a lot of credit too for just not letting Gauff play as well as she did in prior rounds. And talking more about what Aryna did well to take this match in straight sets, first of all, she just served better, and she by far had the best serve out of Coco's prior opponents in Spain. She really stopped Coco, I think, from attacking second serves like she did against Iga and even Mira towards the end of that match. And I think that she also prevented Gauff from hitting good, strong returns off of Sabalenka's first serve. Aryna won 68% of her first serve points, which is good, but the stat that sticks out to me even more is Sabalenka winning 67% of her second serve points, which is a very high number for second serves. And I think Aryna's weighty kick serve was a bit tougher for Gauff to handle. And talking about Gauff, even when she did hit strong returns, Sabalenka was just ready for it, and she oftentimes redirected the pace beautifully to go from defense to offense in a snap. And I think that Aryna's consistent depth and pace of shot made it difficult for Coco to hit through her shots as more and use her spin and heaviness of shot to make Aryna uncomfortable. I was also surprised by how much success Sabalenka had from using the drop shot because, of course, Gauff is a very fast player, but I think that it was a great change-up shot for Sabalenka. That's been a huge asset for her in the past few years, her being able to incorporate more variety because she's able to catch opponents off guard, hitting those big booming ground strokes and then forcing opponents to kind of come to the net not on their own terms. And we saw that on full display. I feel like really Sabalenka won probably every point that she hit a drop shot on. And perhaps above all, Sabalenka just played the big points the best, and she gave herself good cushion so she could navigate her inevitable rough patches. She went up that double break lead in 4-1 the first set, which she needed, and at one point she won 17 straight points, but then she started to tail off a little bit. Gauff started to find her footing, but still that double break lead was too much for Coco to overcome. Then even talking about the tiebreaker, Aryna, she went up 3-love in the tiebreaker. Coco won the next 3 points, but then Sabalenka hit her stride once again to win the final, I believe, 4 points of the match. Sabalenka has been just clutch all week, and that's exactly why she not only won this tournament, but why she is the world #1. And speaking of her #1 status, she extends her gap above Iga Swiatek, the #2 player, and it's up to over 4,345 points that gap is between her and Swiatek. Sabalenka becomes the third woman in the last decade to surpass 11,000 ranking points behind Serena Williams and Iga Swiatek. I think Aryna is definitely in her prime era right now, and I don't think it's a stretch to say that she is going to be the favorite to win Roland Garros in my eyes, even above the 4-time champion Swiatek. Now, shifting gears and talking about the Challenger Tour a little bit, Naomi Osaka won her first pro title in 4 years at the WTA Saint-Malo 125, defeating Kaja Juvan 6-1, 7-5 in the final. The scoreline looks fairly straightforward, but Naomi had to grind in this match. She recovered from 2-4 double break point down in the second set before winning the final 5 of 6 games in this match. Osaka, who is seeded second here in France, dropped 2 sets en route to the title, namely in the round of 16 against Frenchwoman Diane Parry, as she fought back from 1-4 down in the third set. So a huge effort from her to not only win this match, but to go on and win the whole title. Now, the 125s is, again, like a challenger level tournament. It's 1 ring below the WTA main level. It goes like 125s, then the main WTA level is 250, then 500s, 1000s, the finals, the year-end championships, and then the slams. So technically it's not like a WTA tour level title, but it's still a title nonetheless, and a great effort from Naomi. And it's her first title period since she won the 2021 Australian Open, which is just crazy. And then of course it's her first title as a mother. Osaka did reach the Auckland WTA 250 finals earlier this year, but she was unable to finish that match after winning the opening set due to an ab issue. Osaka posted a message about the win on her social media saying, "Kinda ironic to win my first trophy back on the surface that I thought was my worst. That's one of my favorite things about life though. There's always room to grow and evolve. Thanks to everyone accompanying me on this journey. I know it's turbulent, but it's also really fun and I'm grateful." I feel like this result was a bit overdue for Naomi. This was the first time she dropped back and played a non-WTA tour level tournament since 2015. So I think she should have been playing these type of tournaments earlier on in her return from maternity leave instead of trying to come out guns are blazing and playing like the highest level tournaments possible. And I know Naomi probably wanted to go big or go home and have her first title back as a mom be a slam or 1000, but I think this type of result will only help Naomi in the long run. Not only does she have more match reps and confidence, but she also gains a few more points as well and now sits back inside the top 50. I'm just happy that Naomi even played the tournament because I said after her Rome loss to Bronzetti in the first round that she needed to play at 125, so she went on and won the title. So I commend Osaka for just trying all that she can in this comeback, and you can't say that she didn't try and pull out all the stops to try to get back to where she was before, so hats off to her for this effort. Now looking ahead to Rome, the draw dropped this morning, and first starting with Aryna Sabalenka's section, she is guaranteed to play a big hitter in the first round in either Anastasia Potapova or Diana Yastremska. Yastremska actually leads their head-to-head 3-1, but Aryna won their Rome match here last year in the third round in straight sets. Aryna could then play Sofia Kenin in the third round, who actually beat her in Rome back in 2023. Those other two seeds in this section, Daria Kasatkina and Leylah Fernandez, are not big threats to me for Sabalenka at all. I think Ayala or Kostic are bigger threats for Sabalenka, and that first round match is definitely one to watch. I'm going to have Kostic make it through to make the fourth round and face Sabalenka. Possibly Marta could get her lick back from that tight contested Madrid quarterfinal, but I'm going to stick with Sabalenka to progress through to the quarterfinals in Rome. Next is Qinwen Zheng's section, and there is so much opportunity here. Qinwen has been off her game this season. She's been struggling with injury too, and she lost her Madrid opening round match to Anastasia Potapova, and I could see Olga Danilovic beating her, to be honest. Magdalena Frech, she is mid, to be honest. Azarenka might be washed. Rybakina, 2023 champion in Rome. It's her first time playing here since she won that title. Low-key, she's a bit washed for now. At least bare minimum, not as strong as she was before. So I'm not so confident in her prospects of going deep here. Donna Vekic, she can't really make a 1000 quarterfinal to save her life. Bianca Andreescu, I mean, I feel like I don't even have to explain myself there, to be honest. But maybe she can do something. I don't know. I feel like with this section, it's like throwing a dart at a wall. I don't know. I'm going to keep it safe, though, and pick Qinwen to make the quarterfinals. Next, Coco Gauff section is definitely interesting for sure. She does have an opportunity for revenge against Magda Linette in the third round. Belinda Bencic is another possible third-round opponent for Gauff, who has beaten Coco before, of course, in Indian Wells, but Gauff just got her lick back from Madrid. Down below, Emma Raducanu has a similar path that she had in Australia, as she could play Ekaterina Alexandrova followed by Amanda Anisimova. Alexandrova and Anisimova are going to be Coco's biggest threats in round 4 for sure. Coco typically plays well in Rome. She is twice a semifinalist, including last year. But I just have this slight niggling feeling. Why did I say that? This slight feeling that Alexandrova or Anisimova might knock her out. I think that Emma is going to have to do some dirty work for Gauff for sure, but I'm going to go with Anisimova here to come through and make the quarterfinals in this section. Next, Mira Andreeva's section has the return of Marketa Vondrousova, the 2023 Wimbledon champion. Marketa has not played since Dubai due to an ongoing shoulder injury, and she could open against American Emma Navarro. Also, we've got Clara Towson, who's been a bit... We've also got Clara Towson, who's been a bit up and down since making the Dubai finals. Mira is going to be my favorite. Mira is going to be my favorite here. Noskova maybe could cause her some problems if she's consistent enough, and of course Navarro could do her big one, but I'm going to play it safe and go with Andreeva here. Next is Jasmine Paolini. She has the home crowd support, of course, being the top-ranked Italian woman, although Jasmine has never made it to the third round in her home 1,000 tournament in Rome. Petra Kvitova is still looking for that maiden win as a mom. She could play Ons Jabeur, who is on the comeback trail in round 2. We could also see an interesting third round between Jelena Ostapenko and Karolina Muchova. Muchova has not played since Miami, and she withdrew from Madrid due to an illness, so I don't know. Carol is the type of player, though, that can, like, pick it up just like that without having a lot of match reps. So, high key, I'm leaning a little bit more towards her to actually take this section. As Paolini, she was a bit iffy in Madrid, losing to Sakkari so badly. Of course, Sakkari, giving her credit, she did play well, but there's no way Jasmine should be losing like that, like she did, I think, 2-1 to Maria. So maybe something physically is going on with her right now. So, yeah, I'm going with Muchova to take this, so hopefully she's healthy. Moving down further, there's Jessica Pegula, who is coming off a round 3 loss to Uchijima from Madrid. JPEG said that she went home after Madrid to kind of deal with some injuries, so I don't have high expectations for her. I can see Ashlyn Kruger really taking care of her in the second round. Elisa Mertens also has a good head-to-head edge over Pegula too. Elisa Mertens also has a good head-to-head against Pegula, and the Belgian has had decent results on the clay this year as she suffered her lone 2 losses on the red clay to Aryna Sabalenka in both Stuttgart and Madrid. So now that Sabalenka isn't in her immediate path, perhaps she can make a good run here in Rome. Princess Diana Schneider is here too. She had a solid showing in Madrid, losing a tough 4th rounder to Iga Świątek. Perhaps she could do a little something. She's been playing better and better tournament by tournament, so maybe she's like building up to something good for Rome. I don't know. For me, actually, I think it's going to be between Schneider and Mertens to come through here, and I guess I'd go with the high-ranked Diana to come through this section. Next, Madison Keys section. She could play Anna Konskaya for the 3rd straight clay tournament in the 3rd round, as they played in Madrid, which Keys won, and then in Charleston, which Anna Konskaya, she won that match. There's high-key a decent opportunity for Naomi to go on a little bit of a run here. She opens against Sara Irani, and she could meet Paula Badosa in the 2nd round. As Badosa, though, she was forced to miss Madrid and Stuttgart due to an ongoing back issue. Beatrice Haddad-Maia has been poor all season, and I think Naomi can be, of course, Haddad-Maia and even Keys or Konskaya. Still, I'm feeling a little bit more on the safe side and picking Keys to make the quarterfinals for a 2nd straight year. Next, last but not least, is the defending champion, Iga Świątek. She is projected to meet Danielle Collins in the 3rd round, and she could meet Alina Svitolina in the 4th round. Iga, she played bad against Coco Madrid, just being straight up, even though she did make the semifinals, and she's had a great track record in the 1000s, making, I believe, all five 1000 quarterfinals. Świątek also enjoys Rome, being a 3-time champion here, but Svitolina is a 2-time Rome champion herself, so clearly she likes the conditions here too, and I think she has the game to trouble Świątek. I think Iga's going to need Samsonova to do some dirty work and get Svitolina out in round 3, but I don't know if that'll happen, and I'm just not sure if Iga's mental right now. Again, she does play better in the earlier stages of these tournaments, and she did beat Alina in Miami in a tight 2-setter in the 4th round there, but I'm just going to be giving the slight edge to Svitolina, as she's been in great form this entire clay swing. She won 11 matches in a row at one point. She fell to Sabalenka in the semifinals of Madrid in a relatively tight 2-setter. And going off of form, I think she's a little bit stronger, so I'm going to be picking her to make the quarterfinals. For my predictions, I have Sabalenka and Andreeva in the semifinals, followed by or accompanied by Muchova and Svitolina. Then I have Mira and Svitolina going at it in the finals, with the 18-year-old Andreeva winning another 1000 title. Honestly, I was very, very close to having Sabalenka win this one. I had it typed in my little graphic there, and even though Iga, she did it and completing the dirty double last year, winning Madrid and Rome back-to-back, Aryna has gone deep in practically every tournament this year. Specifically since Indian Wells, she made the finals of all her tournaments played, so I think that might catch up to her here in Rome. I think leaving Iga out of the quarterfinals lineup is a little bit of a gamble because, again, she has been consistent in the earlier rounds of these big tournaments. Her issue is just getting over the hump and actually making a final. I, again, am not that confident in these picks, so I don't know, we'll see. I was kind of close to being a little bit edgy and maybe having Svitolina go all the way, but I don't know if I can trust her, really. She's not really someone I feel comfortable banking on and taking this title right now, considering how she's played a considerable amount of tennis lately too, so I don't know, but yeah, those are my picks. That's all I have for today's video. Let me know your thoughts on the Madrid final. Were you satisfied with it? And do you think that Sabalenka can achieve the dirty double? And if not, who else do you think will win Rome? Also, will Naomi's 125 win be the catalyst she needs to achieve bigger results later on in this comeback? Again, make sure you all subscribe and click the notification bell so you're notified whenever I post my upcoming videos for Rome. Thank you all so much again for watching and for your support, and I'll see you all next time here on Christian's Court.